Hey guys, Wade here with Texas Duck Dogs. Today I want to help you self-trainers out there with gun breaking. The conventional wisdom is, let's take the pup out, shoot some skeet, and see what happens. I'm going to tell you don't do that. You want to try to create positive association to loud noises. This is going to start at the food pan. When you got that 8-week-old puppy and he comes home and you put food down, you want to clap your hands, stomp your feet, create some commotion. You want him to have a positive association, the reward of the feed, to the loud noises. Up front, it's feed first, then the loud noises. Later on, it'll be the loud noises, stomping your feet, clapping your hands, and the pup will come running and you'll present the reward of the food. This is going to continue for 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, and you're going to move from clapping your hands to maybe banging some extra food bowls or some pots and pans. And again, it's important, you got 2 layers to this. Up front, it's food first, then the loud noise. Second step, loud noise, then the food. 2 or 3 days of each. Then when you switch to pots and pans, go back to food first, present it, and he starts eating, and then gradually work in the pots and pans. 2 or 3 days of that, and then you switch the other pots and pans first, then the reward of the food. It's important that you do this flip-flop, and that when you first introduce a new noise, it needs to be while he's eating to make the positive association or connection. Then, after he's developed that and he's comfortable with it and he's good with it and he wags his tail while you're clapping your hands and he's eating and everything, then you put the loud noise in front of the reward. And so what he learns is, man, when Dad starts making that loud noise or banging those pans, then he's going to give me the food. Later on, that's going to be when Dad pulls the trigger and that gun goes boom, then I get the reward of the bird. Make sense? Don't go out and just shoot and see what happens. That is a horrible idea, and I know it's conventional wisdom. Well, let's take him to the skeet range and keep him tied out in the parking lot or something, and everybody's shooting clays, and he'll just overcome it or overcome his fear or adapt to it or whatever you're thinking. How about not? How about we create a positive association to loud noises so that he learns that a reward is coming and related or associated with a loud noise. So after you do clapping hands, stomping feet, then you do pots and pans, stomping feet, then you do a couple of 10, 12, 14-inch 2x4 slats. You can do 2 of these. You slap them together, pow, they're loud. Sounds like a 22 going off. Again, food first, slap the boards, then after 2 or 3 days of that and it's going well, slap the boards, pup comes running, give them the food. Now you're ready to go out in the field and do it in the field. You start with a guy out in the field throwing a bird for you, throwing the bumper, not you. Now, if your dog doesn't already know to retrieve something that somebody else has thrown, you have to teach that part first. Trainers call this a gunner mark. You have to get the dog acclimated to retrieving something that didn't come from your side. A big fail that a lot of self-trainers make is the only thing the dog has ever retrieved is something you've thrown or you've shot off the shoulder dummy launcher. Either way, it's leaving you and he's going to get it. When you go out hunting, that bird that he's retrieving didn't leave your hand or your shoulder. It was flying in the air and you shot. This is where dogs learn to scan the sky and watch for something. So you need to start teaching your pup that by having your wife, your 7-year-old for some white donuts, those Little Debbie powdered white donuts. My son Caleb, he used to throw birds. I had 3 or 4 dogs I was training, and I would tell him, okay, if you'll throw those bumpers, you know, for 30 or 45 minutes for these 3 or 4 dogs, I'll give you a roll of those Little Debbie's powdered donuts. And so he did that. So anyway, use your girlfriend, your wife, if you've got a wife, not your girlfriend, okay, your son, whoever, daughter, neighbor kid down the street. Grandchildren are great for this, I'm told. I don't have any yet. Use somebody else to throw the object that your dog is going to retrieve. I'll make a whole nother video on how to teach that and all that, because there's a way to introduce it and to get it going. So you've done all your early puppy noise conditioning. Hands and feet, pots and pans, 2x4 slats. The dog knows when you slap those 2x4s, whoo, he comes running. Where's that food bowl at? Okay, you got that going. You've got your dog where he'll run gunner marks. Now, meaning somebody is out there throwing the bird. That's the gunner. So now your gunner, he needs something to make a loud noise, a percussion. If all you've got is the 2x4 slats, he can walk the 2x4 slats out there at 10 or 15 yards, slap them, throw the bumper, and you send the dog. Eventually, though, he needs to be using something like a boom cannon. We call them thunder launchers. There's a bunch of companies making these. Thunder Equipment makes them. Bobby Lee's boom guns. I've probably got 4 of those. I got 2 thunder launchers. So a bunch of people make this stuff. You can find them online, Facebook, whatever. But get a shotgun simulator or order some shotgun popper blanks. You can order popper blanks, use blanks. Use a 22-209 primer pistol or a 22 blank pistol, but have something to make a percussion. And you want this as an intermediate step before you go on to full-on 12 gauge, live 12 gauge fire. So you're gonna have the gunner out there at 20 yards. He's gonna, hey, 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 and throw the bumper. Again, it's important that you get the order of this process correct. Throw the bumper. Right as the bumper's hitting the ground, he shoots the 22 blank pistol. Pow! Right as it's hitting the ground. And you go ahead and send the dog quick. This is not a steadying drill. You'll do that later on. Right now, in priority, we're working on gun conditioning, noise conditioning. If you try to do your steadying work with your noise conditioning at the same time, you run the risk of creating a negative association about the gun. Because now you're steadying him for the first time and you have him on a sit and you tap him on his butt, or you give him a collar correction or a prong collar correction or a choke chain correction or some kind of correction at the same time that gun is going off, you could run the risk of creating a negative association. Don't do that. So if you're gun breaking, you're gun breaking. If you're steadying, you're steadying. Later on, you can put them together, but right now you're just doing one of those and it's gun breaking. So the guy throws the bumper and the puppy's watching it. Right as it hits the ground, boom, the gun goes off. If your puppy is trying to go and take off, let him. That's fine. We're not steadying right now. Let the puppy go. We'll steady him later on after he's fully gun broke. So don't put the cart before the horse. The guy's going to start out there at 20 yards, and then he's going to be at 15 yards, then he's going to be at 10 yards, then he's going to be at 5 yards, then he's going to be right by your side. And he's going to, you got the pup here, and he's going to throw the bird or the bumper or whatever you're using that day and shoot that blank pistol. The only way you graduate to him being right by your side and that loud bang of percussion being right next to your puppy is if all the other steps, 20 yards, 15 yards, 10 yards, 5 yards, all went fine. If your dog is like ducking and leaning and nervous, don't keep getting the gunner close. He needs a slower gun conditioning process. He needs a bigger reward. If the bumpers are just so important to him, and you're trying to use that to create a positive association for the gun, he already doesn't like bumpers that much anyway. So then you're going to want to use birds. And you might find that your normal frozen bird, you know, he's real leery of that gun. So then you might try a clipped wing pigeon. And if you've never introduced a clipped wing pigeon, don't introduce a clipped wing pigeon at the same day you're doing your gun conditioning. There's layers to all of this. Remember baby steps. Take it slow, but have a process, a thought out process. And if each step goes well, then and only then do you progress to the next step. Eventually, you're going to be able to stand by your dog, have a 12 gauge, your friend throws the bird, you shoot the 12 gauge, you send the dog, he retrieves the bird or the bumper or whatever, and now he's hunting and fully gun broke under live 12 gauge fire. Eventually, you'll have that dog fully steady to shot. But that's going to come later on after you've done your steadying drills. And hopefully soon I'll make another video talking to you about how to steady your pup under live gunfire. Happy training. I'm Wade Cashion, Texas Duck Dogs. Find our YouTube channel for these videos, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Check us out. I own Texas Duck Dogs, a large retriever training kennel in North Texas. We've got 100 acres, 9 custom developed training ponds. This pond right here is some blueprints that Rex Carr put together for Danny Farmer's training grounds in West Monroe, Louisiana. So I'm a 5th generation kennel operator. I've been training professionally 23 years. I can help you with your hunting dog. I hope this video helps. Happy training and see you in the field.